Hey everybody, Shay here. I'm back for another unwrapping video with this new setup. I'm sort of digging it, even though the camera quality could have been a little bit better. We'll see if that gets improved in the future. But right now, I'm gonna go with the flow, and we're gonna be doing Dragon Age: The World of Thedas Volume 2. I was gonna walk away. But I'm like, you know what? No, let's do this now. I kind of got invigorated by the last video, and so without further ado, we're gonna take the plastic off of this piece right here. Don't mind the glare on me for now. This is the I got a Google screen here just so that it can provide some light for us to be able to see these pages a little bit better in this camera. It seems to like picking up the pages better with the focus, if we can call it that, the fixed focus. But in a way that makes it look not so bad. We have the book of the World of Thedas, Volume 2, and it's got that matte quality again. Nice matte quality with the spot shine there. Let's see if we can get just the glare there, right there, right? So that makes it look pretty cool on the letters here as well. You see that right there, and then the back right here we got the summary. Got Morrigan. That is a Dragon Age Inquisition Morrigan right there. That's her dress from the from Val Royeaux when you pick her up. We have a is that Bull? Oh, it's Bull. I was just gonna say we have a Kunari. No, that's Bull. So that's Dragon Age Inquisition for sure. We have from heroes and villains to poetry and recipes. There was a codex. That was a recipe, wasn't there? Dragon Age: The World of Thedas Volume 2 puts BioWare's masterpiece of fantasy at your fingertips. This comprehensive tome takes you inside a universe legendary for its rich lore and unforgettable characters through stunning art and inviting prose created by the very artists and writers who brought it all to life. And as accessible as it is in depth, this attractive guide is the perfect entry point for newcomers and the ultimate resource for dedicated fans. I agree. This is published by Dark Horse. They seem to be doing a lot of these kinds of books. I picked up a few of them now for Mass Effect, the 3 Dragon Age ones, and I'm looking forward to picking up other ones because they do really good quality. So without further ado, let's crack this open, and hopefully the binding is as good as the other books that I've picked up. We have the Dragon Age Inquisition symbol there. Opening page here of the Deep Roads. Hell yeah. That was a great section, great DLC. That goes into some very fundamental stuff. I'm going to try not to spoil things, but of course I should have given a more proper warning in the last video. I don't think I spoiled a lot. There was one comment I made which I may or may not have left in. But just in case, I'm going to give the spoiler warning now because this will be flipping through stuff that will show art from Dragon Age Inquisition, and so that could ruin the games for you. So just beware. Look at that. Look at that shot. Is that like every character? Oh my god, you got Shale in there, you get the Magister, you got the Architect. This is great. It's every character that's, well, presumably, that we've interacted with. You got Solace in there, you got the Mother. You got, yeah, wow. Holy smokes. They weren't messing around. Oh my gosh. There's even the elf from Dragon Age 2. Corypheus is in here as well. This is great. Holy smokes. Meredith, they were not kidding around. There's Morgan right there, of course. Liliana. Am I going to go through all of these? For real? I'm not going to do that. Connor. Sorry, let's keep going. Okay, no. Isabel. No, let's keep going. Let's not get stuck there. Wow. Okay, so they actually pointed. Oh, I didn't even know. Hey, buddy. So I called him Mog in that game. That's great. That's great. I love that they did this. It's like a who's who. Talus, I forgot her name. It's from the DLC from Dragon Age 2. Holy smoke. Okay, moving on. Let's start flipping through. This is beautiful art. A lot of the card art, or I mean the codex, but they kind of look like cards. The card art was I thought was spectacular in Dragon Age Inquisition, and yeah, I mean I would buy a book just of the art of Dragon Age Inquisition, which is probably that third book I got. We'll find out, but yeah, it's spectacular. So we have Chantry leaders here. I'm gonna go page by page, and I'm gonna try to talk along the way as things come up. Oh wow, even that, I mean, I'm literally a couple pages in, but I love that they have Chartan's legacy as the elf ally of Andraste of the history. So they start going into more of that and dissecting a lot of the stuff about the religion itself and the faith, and Yeah, again, I'm gonna try not to spoil, but I love even here the Children of Andraste. Sort of these like sects inside Dragon Age Inquisition that you kind of pick up in side quests and codexes here and there. Like the True Daughters, Isarath and Orlais. Yeah, this is great. Verald and Navarra. I don't remember this one. Evrion and the Free Marches. I don't remember that either. So we got Mafreth and Doubt. Yeah, this is wow. This is going straight into the myth of stuff. We got Divine Justinias. We have other major divines. I started to create my own document of this. I've been starting to collect information to kind of work on a project, but it's going to take me a long time. So I keep getting intimidated and then walking away from it. Sophia Dryden even gets an entry from the DLC from Dragon Age Origins. She gets brought up there. Here we go. Let's look at some little nook here in the even in what's presumably a religious piece in some let's see, Thedosian artist Ambrose Dumont. I mean, I'm not going to read it right here, but this is the other thing I loved about Dragon Age, even in their codexes, is that you're reading information about the lore of the world, but it's told from the perspective of the fictional character who's writing the codex. It's not necessarily the devs or the writers of the game saying this is what these things are. It's here's what these things are from the perspective. You got to get to the end of the codex, and then you get to the bylines or whatever they're called, and it says like from a still life of modest artistic decrements, Thedosian artists through the ages of Plume. That's fake. And so whatever you're reading here is from the perspective of a fictional author from a fictional book, from you know what I mean. It's just these layers of like, it goes back to like I talked about it a little bit in the last video, the real thing, the ideas of the real thing, and the ideas of the ideas that fuel the ideas of the real thing, and then you can work up that hierarchy, and this entire setting is pretty much all about that. We got this looks like it should be the Fade. Is it the long abandoned deep roads hide many secrets? Oh, that's the deep roads. I mean, I started this green mist and I started thinking, no, there's the bridges and the deep roads and stuff like that. And so we're going to get some lore about the deep roads. We got Calenhad, the bloodline. There's dragon stuff possibly mixed in with that stuff. You get a little bit here and there, like you get them as myths inside the game, but then if you read the comic, it sort of goes explicit into it. But like I just said about the ideas of ideas and like the Fade and like you is it though? It is, but is it though? Anyways, I'm not good. It's good. It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. Anyway, so we have this. I've never seen this art. Was this on? This feels like it should have been a card art inside a Dragon Age Inquisition, but I mean, this looks great. So some concept art mixed in here for sure. The search for Merrick. This goes way more into the. Look at that art, right? Like that's crazy. Into like the history, like it's going into the people. Like the first volume 1 did not have this much depth into the people of the history of the world, and that's intriguing as hell. So the new Cumberland Chant of Light. Because I started reading all of these over in the codexes on the wiki to try to collect them and try to figure out like what it's right here. It's right here, man. So it's like, it's basically the Bible of this fictional world. And this is fascinating because like I have ideas about this big time. So the fact that they've drawn this, it's got the idea of veins and life, lyrium. I'm not going to go too much further into that, but that's very curious illustration for that. And I would like to reread these canticles to see how that worked itself into that as a visual. We have here the Golden City was assaulted. Magisters assault this Golden City, which is effectively, this is all from my perspective, the center of this infinite world. It's equivalent if you've ever read about Planescape or were a fan of that tabletop game in the 90s. I kind of see the Golden City as Sigil, as the center of an infinite universe, right? It's the center of a disc, but it's and because no matter where you are, if you'll always see the Golden City. It's basically at the center of infinity. That's how I kind of think of it, which of course is an impossibility, but that's the great thing about Planescape and the idea about this and the Fade and how all that works, because it's effectively Planescape for me. It makes it very easy for me to wrap my head around that because I own every product of the Planescape setting. and I've read it and I've run it, and it's I mean, it's old lore now. It's just amorphous stuff in my head that I see other games. I'm convinced that a lot of developers and writers that are creating these new works, they are probably around my age. They probably went through the same experiences with the similar products or the same products in their childhood, and it's influenced them, and it's become subconscious masses of knowledge of not even knowledge, well, knowledge, but like creative stuff that just turns into this. I see so many things in this particular franchise that I feel like the writers played Planescape. I can't not see it. Like it's there's too many crazy ideas. Look how many of these are. These exist. Holy smokes! Now this is almost inevitably all of the codexes collected together. But I gotta believe that they've added stuff to this, or maybe they came up with this in like comics or like other things in novels, and they've put all of it together. Yeah, that's cool. So the hero Ferelden, the protagonist of Dragon Age Origins. I probably didn't finish my thoughts that I was going on some tangent or something. Alice there. We got Morgan. What? Morgan was an unlikely ally of the hero Ferelden. I mean, that's if she would have looked like that. That looks cool too. I like what she ended up ultimately looking like, but that looks rad. That's nowhere in the game. So that's fascinating. So we got Bear. That's definitely a card. That's a goddamn spiders. They always spook the shit out of me. We have Senior Enchanter Win. Yeah, we have Ogren. He looks disheveled as hell in that art. He's a mess. You got Shale. Of course, Shale before and Shale after. Oh, they don't really spoil that. That's fine. Neither will I. Cool. We got the crows here. And even Crow, known as Zevran, was hired by Loghain to assassinate the hero Ferelden. One of my favorite characters. Oh, wow. Look at his entry. That's gold. I mean, his story is pretty cool, and it's told, I guess, across a couple... Well, he tells you some stuff, and some stuff is in the codex. I love that this stuff consolidates that information into one block of text. Makes it a lot easier to read something like this to investigate the ideas that I'm trying to put together than to navigate all the wikis. I was literally creating my own document that was consolidating stuff from wikis, and I was like, this is too much. Joan, a character in Dragon Age Origins, which was supposed to be in the game, but then they removed him for whatever reason, and there's a mod out there that adds him back into the game, and the replay of Dragon Age Origins will be including Joan, because there's content that was actually suppressed inside, and it's still in the code, and someone just surfaced it, and then I think they patched it with some support stuff just so that Joan has a more complete role inside the game. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do an all-mage team. I know it sounds crazy. We'll find out how that goes. We have Rendon Howe and the history of the Hows, hopefully. We have Vaughn, the Kuslins. That's great. We have the Awakening. That's, of course, the massive expansion for Dragon Age Origins. I mean, it's like a mini-game in its own. We got Nathaniel Howe, who comes up in that expansion. I really enjoyed it, but... I was gonna say I really enjoyed it, but like characters like Vallana sort of appear, and I feel like some characters just had a more lasting impression than other ones, and I feel like Vallana sort of got a crap end of the stick there. Like I never really dug her, so I never got into like what her purpose was, and she was a loose cannon. So we're going into a lot of the Tevinter stuff in Navarra, and so we've got a lot of that in the first volume, but again, this is now exploring just pieces of so it's like the volume 1 gives you this high level view. I'm doing these blind, obviously. I had plastic wrapped around this, right? But I'm kind of just seeing what the impression is as I go. But as I understood it, the first volume was this high level view of these regions, and then volume 2 goes, okay, now you got that information, now let's really dig in, let's get to the main characters of it, let's get to the important figures, the groups there that are important. So that's pretty cool. I mean, even the Accords, right? Like the stuff, I love that they redacted this stuff. Like, what? And it's William the Bard. There's a bunch of codexes for that. Oh man, I started working on a piece for this, because this is like near the end of Dragon Age Inquisition. I started to have theories about how all of this worked with other things. I'm not going to spoil it here, because I haven't seen anyone kind of get to the same ideas that I'm kind of brewing, but this is kind of the astrological charts, and these were different kind of things that pre-people would have worshipped and saw, but there's some parallelism between the characters that show up here and possible worship that happens to the other ones that come later. I'm trying to be so careful with what I say. I'm not really spoiling anything. But yeah, there are gods-ish stuff. Okay, we have the Champion of Kirkwall. So now we're going to go into the Hawk family and the Hawk history here. And this is Dragon Age 2, of course. A game that seems to have, based on what I can gather, it's got, what's it called? It's very divisive, I guess, with the fan base. I've gotten a mix of people who are like, just skip it. I've gone from the extreme of just skip the game to it's the crappiest of the games, blah, 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 play it once and never again, to it's not that bad. To my take, I actually think it's controversially the best of the games from a combat experience perspective. It's the best of the games, hands down. It's got the best AI. It's got the best the ability to customize the synchronization between your companions within combat is clear, to the point where it maybe makes it too simple, and that's one of the negatives for other people who find that it's just click, 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 things happen. It is that. It could be that, but man, it's also the sub piece of that is if you set up the AI, like it gets super slick and super fast and super easy when you really do the good synchronization with the AI, which I enjoyed. I really love that section of it. It was the smartest kind of dynamic I've ever seen in a game to date, and it made it flow, and it allowed the story to keep moving forward. It's a shorter story, so that's also kind of a negative for some, but yeah, and I will agree with this one. The relationship with the companions and the companions themselves, they were far darker in Dragon Age 2, and so that didn't really land well on some people. It didn't kind of mesh with things. I kind of agree. Some characters weren't consistent, like Meryl. I played an elf in Dragon Age Origins, and so the Meryl in Dragon Age Origins did not feel like the Meryl that you get introduced to in Dragon Age 2. That was very disruptive for my kind of immersion. Isabella, same thing. Isabella makes a quick cameo in Dragon Age Origins. It sort of feels the same, but not quite. I ended up having the romance with Isabella in my playthrough. Fenris, cool character. Jackass. I will say no more. Sebastian, a lot of people seem to not dig Sebastian in the comments. I didn't feel he was bad, but he felt like he was very passable. He could have been cool, but he felt like he was a tag along. He was like that fifth wheel in a relationship. Third wheel. What kind of relationship am I talking about? Anyways, that's great. I love that art right there. It's one of my favorite pieces, I think, of that game. The Kunari, the Aeroshock looked really cool in this game. We have Talus from the DLC, modeled after Felicia Day. Voiced by her. I mean, you play the game, you're like, that's Felicia Day. And I believe there's like a live action. She did a live action kind of short series. I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, that exists out there. She got the blessing of BioWare. I know some information at this point. It's all sort of just, again, nebulous. This character really threw me off. The first enchanter, Orsino. I felt like his story progression was a little bit too I can't even really explain it. It kind of pivots really rapidly in a way where you're like, well, how did it get to this point? So I don't want to spoil anything. Here we go. We got some Cole coming into play here. One of the best character in the series, possibly. Is it arguably? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. And he's also in Asunder right here. Great book, great story. I'm talking away from my mic, which is not helpful. What is this one? I don't remember this one, but that's kind of that's creepy, right? Like claw hands with like things just jumping into the maws of something. Bad children all get eaten. I don't remember this rhyme. Oh yeah, maybe I do. Eaten, eaten, eaten. Bad children all get eaten in the fryer. Dragon fire. On the boiling kettle pyre. Soup for 6 or maybe higher. Eaten, eaten, eaten. What is this? A march or rhyme originating in rural areas, but common in some variation from Wycombe to Starkhaven. That must have been a codex. I don't really remember it, but that's another reason why I love these things. I love the codexes. It just gives so much flavor to the lore. I don't remember this either. This art. So what the heck was this? Is there like a children book out there? Some creepy Dragon Age children book? These are all fables and stuff. So one of my favorite parts of the codexes are their fables. Because again, they're not just telling you the lore, right? They're telling you stories, legends, fables, folk tales, myths, right? It's all of these things that they're not real. Even the history of this setting, there's something about it that's not necessarily real. Like, it's really hard to explain because you have to explain what you mean by that, and it gets very, very tricky. But it gets to a point where you're just like history is lost, and so then of course it becomes like, just who's the winner? Who's the winner? Who wrote that book? Who wrote that codex? Who wrote that myth? Who wrote that folklore? Right? And they're going to have that fictional characters are going to have their perception baked into their idea of that history. And then there's like these blank spots from history. There's just these holes. So I've got theories about that. So we got some characters here from Inquisition. We got Cassandra. We got Cullen in all three games. I love these cards. This is great. It's from your table, from the war table when you're choosing missions. Yeah, Solace or Solus, depends on what day it is. I like to pronounce his name however I feel like it. First Enchanter Vivienne. Blackwall, one of my favorite characters. Again, divisive, but a lot of people don't like what went down. I loved his story. I loved the breakdown of it. I loved the reveal of it. I loved everything about Blackwall. Probably, I mean, it'd probably be Cole and then Blackwall would be my favorite characters. I know it's easy to say it's Solace, you know, Solus. But it's for me it's different because it was also part of like how I kind of unveiled things as I went, and my connection with these characters as I played through the game, and had interactions with them, and kind of reveal things through what people said or what were in codexes or the history that we found. Like, I don't know, the theories I was coming up with along the way, and it kind of bound me to some characters more than others. So yeah, it looks a little bit Griefalian, huh? The hat thing, that looks cool. Now this is new. I don't know what this is from. Garyon and Felix Alexius. I have no idea what this is. Grim Anatomy. The author of this book debuted the Grim Anatomy by its finders, dissects various creatures using unorthodox methods. The resulting diagrams illustrate in great detail how nugs, giants, wyverns, and others look on the inside. Where is this? Is this in the game? This might be on just like, it's crazy because like you might, like the art team might do things like this, and then there'll be like little things on top of desks, or you know, like just things you just pass by and you don't even pay attention to. And so I love that they can grab those assets and then put them in a book like this and make it shine, you know, elevate it, rightfully so. Love it. Keep doing more of it. I will buy it. The Warden's Shroud. I ended up being a character in my playthrough because, of course, decisions you make throughout the game make it so that some characters can't be in certain places throughout your continuity, and that's the great part about these games is your playthrough is the canon of the world from your perspective. That's the World of Thedas. Now there is a canon, BioWare canon, canon because, of course, things that might happen to Alistair, like, you know, you'll do a comic and the comic will refer to Alistair as king, and of course, so that depends on your playthrough. But so there's kind of like a prime, I call it like the prime canon. I have an idea that makes it so that everyone's playthrough is absolutely relevant and it's absolutely canon. Like everyone's playthrough is canon. It's true. All of it is true. Yes, that is what I say. Because they've given you proof inside Dragon Age Inquisition. Am I going to be spoiling things? I warn people up front. They've given you proof that stuff is possible. That the Vinters have crazy blood magic-y kind of options that impact the way time and space work. So, and have created parallel timelines within the canon itself, the prime canon. So that's why I'm like everyone's run is canon. If they're just different parallel universes, right? Within I have ideas. That's all I'm gonna say. So the whole nug culinary, there's culinary. What would you use for these recipes, for nug recipes? Would you use rabbit, or would you use swine? What would you use? Can someone please create the science where you breed rabbit pigs so that we can all find out with, yeah, but they have like human hands, creepy human hands. I don't want to go any further with what I would. Just let's keep it to rabbit pigs. I mean, come on, it's not like you can't splice in some human genome. Oh, terrible. Let's move on. So we have no, just use pig. Just use I recommend pig. I'm not a big fan of rabbit, to be honest, or hare. It's too gamey. I don't like it. Now swine, pig, piglet, all day every day. So we have some pie. So the bestiary, I love these. I've talked about this in the last video. I used to go to Gen Con. Not every, I was going every year for the first few years back, 15 years ago. It was a bit of a drive for me, but I would always come back with just trunks. Like my trunk would be full of trunks, like plural, a trunk full of RPG books. And one of the weaknesses for me were the monster manuals from any setting. Didn't care. I have tons of them. I just go through them, look at the art, look at the write-ups. I was doing a lot of D20 mechanic stuff back in the day too, like ghostwriting, some mechanic stuff. But yeah, so I would kind of like research just how people were doing it, and get caught up in that stuff, man. I love people's ability to get inspiration from a Tolkien or from whatever. It can be anything. It could be any fantasy from the last. It doesn't matter. But grabbing all of that, pooling it all together, and then coming up with your own variations and your own ideas about how all of these things work. Like even the way that like the dragons and the way they break down, Abyssal High dragons, Northern Hunter. These are all the ones that appeared in the game. We have the Ferelden Frostback, the Greater Mistral. I don't know where that came from. Hivernal. We did take a couple out, didn't we? Oh yeah, the Sandy Howler. Anyways, they have different powers and stuff. Different looks. But yeah. And we have here the World of Thedas Volume 1, a list of errata by Brother Genetivi, one of the fictional writers of especially Dragon Age Origins, but he appears in other codexes from the other games. But he's a huge historian. Huge fictional historian, but of course he has to fix some things that the people who have wrote things after him, they've screwed things up, and so fictional Brother Genetivi has to come around and fix people's mistakes. So the errata is cool, and we have, of course, not a codex, but not a what's it called, glossary, but an index. Now I would prefer the glossary. Those are cool, and there we go. There's the end of. I mean, that looks kind of UFO-ish, doesn't it? You kind of go crazy with these things. This is and they use the eye motif a lot in this game, so that's curious. I maybe have ideas. The mountaintop here, possibly Frostback Mountains. I'm assuming this is Cassandra. I'm not sure. Possibly. She looks cool here. She's got the right armor for it. But anyway, so there you go. There's Dragon Age, the World of Thedas Volume 2, and I still have a third one. I believe it's The Art of Dragon Age Inquisition, or it's something of Dragon Age Inquisition. This was a massive book. This was way bigger than the first one. I felt it. Yeah, it's nearly it's 300 pages. The other one was 200 pages, Volume 1. So this was 300 pages. Hope you guys enjoy the journey through Dragon Age Inquisition. Hope if you haven't played the game, and I haven't spoiled too much, trust me. Go play the game. Highly recommend this series. There's a tabletop game by Green Ronin. They've created a whole system for it, and it runs pretty slick. And it's probably got other lore in there as well. I might pick it up someday just to see what's going on. I'm a big fan of role playing games, just to see how they worked it out. And that company in particular, Mutants and Masterminds, True 20, Blue Rose. I've read, and I've studied the evolution of Green Ronin's kind of approach to game system design, especially Stephen Kenson's work for that company, and so we'll see if I have other things to unveil. I mean, now that I have this setup, I wouldn't mind kind of talking about old tabletop games. Like, this can go anywhere at this point. Setting books, accessories, supplements, bestiaries, monster manuals, and stuff like that. That might be a lot of fun. Anyways, that's a wrap. Thank you for showing up, and I will catch you in the next video. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy. Peace.